The food you ate 21 days ago is the food that is keeping you alive today. The food you consumed 3 weeks ago is the food that is keeping you alive today. It's not the food you ate this morning that is keeping you alive. It's not the food you ate yesterday or the day before that. It's the food you ate 21 days ago. Scientists and researchers actually proved or demonstrated that a human being can live for 70 days without food. So after 70 days, the person will die. An average person will die. And then a human being can live for 5 days without water. After 5 days, if he didn't consume water, the person will die. Okay, but I'm using 21 days because I'm about being alive and being conscious. I'm not talking about being alive and, being in coma. So for you to still be alive and conscious of your environment, I believe you can only survive for 21 days. And it is the food you ate 21 days ago that will keep you alive. But after 21 days, you might still have a pulse. You might still, have heartbeat, but you are unconscious. You are bedridden. Okay. So it's the food you ate 21 days ago that will keep you alive, that is keeping you alive today. In another context, the food you ate 3 days ago is the food that is giving you strength today. The food you ate 3 days ago is not the food you ate this morning that's giving you strength. By strength, I mean ability to stand up, walk around, use the washroom, bathe, cook, drive, move around, go to work. It's not the food you ate today that gives you that strength. It is the food you ate 3 days ago. After 3 days, you might not be able to, you might need help doing certain things, So, depending on the person anyway. So, if you don't eat for 3 days, you can still, do things. You can fast for 3 days conveniently. Okay. A normal healthy human being should be able to fast food, go without food for 3 days, 3 days and 3 nights. I'm not talking about 6 to 6 you break, 6 to 6 you break. I'm talking about today, if today is Monday, or let's say, okay, I started on Saturday, okay, and then I broke my fast yesterday, Tuesday, by 12 noon. So Saturday midnight to Tuesday 12 noon. Yeah, by the way, in my last post, I did say that children should fast according to their age. And my 15-year-old daughter then asked me, so as adult, so I should also fast according to my age. I said, no, adult, once you are 18, then you fast for like the normal 6 to 6 or 24 hours. And then she says, no, Daddy, you are 60, you should also fast for 60 hours. And that's actually what I planned. I said, okay, I take you on the challenge. Yeah, you do your 15 hours, I do my 60 hours. So I did my 60 hours. So after breaking on Tuesday afternoon by 12 noon, I now had a window period to eat from that 12 noon till 12 midnight. So my fasting starts again by 12 midnight, and then I will skip food on Wednesday, the next day, then I eat again on Thursday, 12 noon. So I'll be fasting for 36 hours. I don't think I can do 60 hours again. 60 hours was for the first 3 days, okay? So, but after that, I now have to ease into 36 hours for the next 30 days. So that's the only way I can do it to hope to shed some weight for an overweight person like me. So if you are above 85 kg, it's advisable that you don't do 6 to 6. Otherwise, you're not going to lose any weight, okay? Because you end up eating the same quantity of food I would have eaten over the whole day. You eat it in a short period of time. But if you wait till the next day to eat, you can never eat 2 days food. You only eat 1 day food, okay? So the other way to shed weight, if you are overweight and you're doing fasting, you want to lose weight, is to do pure Daniel fast. So in pure Daniel fast, you don't eat any cooked food. No bread, no roti, no rice, no protein, no meat. Okay, so you don't eat any cooked food. The only cooked food you can eat is cooked vegetables. But otherwise, what you'll be eating is fruits and nuts. Fruits and nuts. Okay, so I tried it once, I think only once, when I was in my early 40s. And people that knew me, when they saw me, they said I looked like a different person. I lost so much weight. Okay, so I looked different. Okay, so if you can withstand it, if you can bear it, I think is a good way to shed some weight. But for now, I am just okay with my 36 hours that I'll do for the next remainder of the next 30 days. So for how many days should a normal human being fast? So for how many days should a normal, healthy human being fast? Okay. If you're doing your own private, individual fasting, maybe you are fasting towards one personal need or the other, just trying to draw closer to God, fellowship with God. It's fine. You can go at your own pace. But when there's a corporate fast, like we're in a corporate fast now for 30 days, okay? So it's good that you be in the same spirit with the church for the whole 30 days because you're under authority. Okay, you're under authority, especially if you're a worker or a volunteer in the church. So you have to be part of the corporate agenda, corporate goal. What you can, adjust personally is maybe the number of hours you fast for per day. If you cannot cope with the 6 to 6, you can reduce it to 6 to 5, 6 to 4, 6 to 3, 6 to 2, 6 to 12, So, but it's important that you are part of the corporate agreement, to fast. So there's always that sense of personal conviction, sense of reward, sense of belonging when you, do things with the group, with the church. Okay, so that's important. Okay, so when I say you can fast for 21 days and you will not die, I'm talking about zipping up, closing up for the next 21 days. I'm not talking about 6 to 6. 6 to 6 fasting means you eat by 6 o'clock, between the hours of 6 in the evening and 12 midnight every day. So it doesn't take anything away from you. You won't die. Okay. So in fact, some people that are fasting 6 to 6 still end up eating the same quantity of food after 6 in the evening. They still eat breakfast. They keep their breakfast. They keep their lunch. They keep their dinner. Who's fooling who? So it doesn't change anything. The scientist says that water is very important. So for 5 days, imagine without food, the last 70 days without water, you can only last 5 days. Now, why I choose 21 days is because I've had this experience I've witnessed a pastor friend of, mine years back that decided to, do like Jesus. His name was Pastor Joe from Ghana. Okay, we were together in South Africa, and then he decided to go to the mountains to go and fast for 40 days, and then on the 22nd day, I believe, he passed away. He died. But that's why I'm saying that for 21 days you can still live. Okay, but I'm not saying that. I'm not giving a challenge that one can do to go without food for 21 days. It's not necessary. Jesus says his yoke is easy, his burden is light. My yoke is easy, my burden is light. So it's not a do or die affair. It's not gara. It's not by power. So there's no need to try to prove anything to anyone. Okay, but normal fasting 6 to 6 you can do for 30 days. Personally, I don't see the need to fast beyond 21 days, but being part of a corporate system, part of the church, under authority, you have to go with the instructions. Okay, but if I look at the Bible, I see that Daniel fasted for 21 days, though he was doing what we call Daniel fast. He said he didn't eat any fancy food, any nice food. So we just take it today that he was eating maybe just fruits and nuts, something like that. Okay, but you see where that got him. At the point when he was now speaking to the angel in Daniel 10, from verse 2, you see he said he was weak, he was frail, he was tired, he had no strength in him. Now let me read. Okay, what it says, Daniel 10:8. Therefore I was left alone when I saw this great vision, and no strength remained in me, for my vigor was turned to frailty in me, and I retained no strength. You see, so if he was a 9 to 5 worker, he would have lost his job. He wouldn't be able to go to work. You know the age we're in now, people have to go to work, people have to earn a living. Okay, so Daniel could only do 21 days, but by that time he was already tired. It's different from where they rejected the king's food. Okay, that one they were not even fasting. They rejected the king's food and for some days, and they looked healthy. The healthy there they meant was that they were not fat. Okay, so I'm going to talk about it. In fact, there are many things to talk about during this fasting period. So I'm going to talk about the food aspect in another content. So they were not fat, and then you see that's the advantage of fasting also. When you fast, you manage to shed all those excessive weights, and then you look healthier, you're stronger. Okay, but not for extended period of time. But of course, to fast for 30 days is fine because you're eating every day. So why can't you? If you need strength for your work, then you can cut short your daily fasting. Fast every day, but you can stop at a particular, and you can stop earlier. Okay. So regarding the issue of water, I also believe that when you fast for extended number of days, you should drink water anytime. You don't fast water. Okay. You can fast water if you are fasting for 1 day. You can just go without water. But if you're fasting for extended period of time, you should drink water every day. Water, abstinence from water shouldn't be part of your fasting. I remember one of my pastors in South Africa also was admitted into hospital when we were doing Daniel fast. It was even a Daniel fast, but he was admitted. He collapsed somehow. He was rushed to hospital, and then like nothing too serious. And I think it was discharged the same day or the next day. But on the Sunday he told us that they said he lacked water. He wasn't drinking enough water. He wasn't drinking water. Okay, so maybe he was drinking water in the evening. So now he says people should drink water during fast. Okay, so and I believe that should be the case. When you fast, you should drink water. But there are 3 things that can enter your mouth when you fast. Okay, let me not go there. Now regarding the 3 days context, so I believe that you can fast for 3 days harmlessly. When I say 3 days without food, if you weigh above 85 kilograms, you should try starting the fast with 3 days, 60 hours of fast, no food. Okay, you will not lose your strength. I was still able to drive around, do my house chores, bathe, do my things, so you will not lose your strength. You can still do your stuff. So it's not the food that you eat today or yesterday that gives you strength today. It's the food you ate 3 days ago. So you can't do that. So for women, I don't know, maybe women, it's a bit difficult for them. They can decide to, take juice, if you're overweight as a woman, take juice or take fruits, okay? So it will help. Because what I realize is that if you do normal 6 to 6, you will not lose weight. And then someone will say, is fasting about losing weight? Yes. It's about keeping healthy. When you lose weight, if you're overweight, when you shed some fat, you're healthier. That is why Daniel and his friends were healthier, looking healthier, when they rejected all those fatty food from the king. Okay, sumptuous food. So fasting also helps with that. There's a lot to talk about fasting. I'm going to make another content with regards to food and the benefits of fasting. Okay, but for how long should you fast? I'm talking about for how long should you fast. You should fast with the church for 30 days, 6 to 6 is fine. If you have any reason not to do it till 6 o'clock, it's up to you. But it's also for us to realize that you don't start fasting a day or 2 before the need. Okay, so you don't start fasting even on the day of the need. That's not when you start fasting. You should have fasted from 21 days ago. That's when you should have fasted. So when you started fasting 21 days ago, the heaven will start working on your request, and then by the D-Day, you would have received your answer. Okay, so that's why it is wrong for someone to say, I'm going for a job interview today, I'm not going to eat. If you don't eat, you will not have the strength to face whatever test you're going to go through. You need to eat. So I remember years ago when I had to bury my dad, and everyone had arrived at the village, and I called the meeting on the first day when the work was supposed to start. We were to tidy up the compound, cut trees, carry chairs, do all kinds of manual job that will require strength and energy. And so we started by praying, and then after praying now, I was assigning duties. And then somebody said, oh, by the way, we have to fast. We have to fast today. We have to fast the whole day. I said, no, what do you mean fast? You mean you haven't fasted? This is the time to work. It's not the time to fast. How can you be fasting when you need energy to work? You should have fasted long ago. I fasted before I came back to Nigeria. So I canceled the fast. So in the same way, so you don't fast the day that you need the results, you need the answers. You should have fasted at least 21 days before. Okay, just like when Jesus said to the disciple, this one does not come out except by prayer and fasting, when they tried to heal someone and they couldn't do it, you know, if they were to start fasting then and praying then, it wouldn't work. You know, they should have done that, you know, days before. Okay, that's another content again I'm going to do, because Jesus was not even talking about the demon. He was talking about something else. You don't fast on the day when you're supposed to, when you're expected to perform. You don't fast on the election day. The day of election, you don't fast, because you're busy fasting, and those other opponents are full of energy. They snatch the ballot boxes. They will stand there full-eyed and awake, counting the ballots, checking everything, having the presence of mind, being conscious, full of strength and energy, doing whatever it takes, running up and down. And then you that is fasting, you will not be able to do anything. So you before the election, should have fasted, you know, long ago before the election, and secure the election day. Just like when you go on a trip, also when you go on holidays or you travel, when you want to travel, you fast weeks before your travel date. It's not the day of the travel that you start fasting. No, you should have fasted weeks before. Okay, so you can, if you want, you can break the fast on that day of the event, but you should have started 21 days before. When they say Jesus fasted for 40 days and 40 nights, you know, the Bible has levels of understanding. And if there's another meaning to it, you will never know. So, no, I'm not aware of anyone that has attempted that and succeeded. So don't try to kill yourself. Okay, go with your body, what your body tells you. Okay, when you start the fast, especially when you're doing the 3 days dry fast, the second day you might think that maybe you're gonna die, maybe after the second night. So that feeling that you will die is not the real feeling of death. It's your body adjusting to lack of sugar, lack of the fat that is used to, lack of the supply that is used to. So after that second day, your body will stabilize. Okay, so you can even go 4 days, 5 days, but that's, you know, not necessary, because Jesus has said that his yoke is easy, his burden is light. Okay, so just take your time, do it at your own pace, be useful to your people around you, be productive in what you do. Okay, so no need to be fasting and then be useless in other things. Okay, thank you for staying to the end. I'll appreciate if you will share the content, because we also need to debunk the narrative from the other side, the accusers of the brethren. And if you don't have the same audience they have, how will people hear? So just share the content so that our own side of the story will also go out there. Okay, there's many more to come regarding fasting, and so stay tuned to the channel.